go fast. There was multiple objects in a line formation called line abreast.
Right. How
flying
many?
side by side. 4. They're about a mile apart, flying in formation, doing what they're doing. The pilots were looking at that, had a hard time locking it, and then they kind of brought their attention up to this other object that's basically co-altitude with them, and that's the gimbal video. And behind the gimbal, there was what they refer to as a fleet of objects, about 4 to 6 objects that were flying in a formation, like a tight formation, all within about a mile and a half of each other, in a like a V formation. And so they come, they turn, they get all discombobulated, and then they flow back out into a clean formation, making a 180-degree turn. And then the gimbal object, which we see start to rotate, that's the moment it actually changes direction, right? So it's proceeding behind this formation. It turns, the gimbal does its kind of, its maneuver, and then it starts trailing in the opposite direction. So you got, maybe 10, 12 objects that are out there operating in this area. East of the ship, we're already 300 miles out there. And so where do they come from? What are they doing? Are they assessing our fight? Are they enemy combatants? For me, this is the conversation that I've been trying to have for almost 10 years now about the seriousness of having these unknown objects in our airspace. It's a security risk whether, they come from little green men or whether they come from our adversaries or if they just remain unknown. And that's kind of the state we're living in right now with what's happening over in New Jersey and elsewhere. We're having this massive uncertainty about what these objects are. There's a lot of rumors. It's causing fear and panic. And once again, the Biden administration and the Pentagon are unwilling to have a conversation with the American people and share what information they have.
Why do you think that is, if you had to speculate?
The biggest probability is they don't know. Right? If this is something that they've been struggling with for all these years, and suddenly it's happening in a much larger capacity than it has in the past, they're not easily able to write it off, and they just don't have the answers. Or perhaps they do have the answers, but they fall under a category of information, much like these objects, that they're not willing to have a public conversation about it.
What is the best footage of the New Jersey drones? Why New Jersey, by the way?
I don't know. A lot of shipping.
Also military base, right?
Yeah.
Outside of Bell Labs, there's a military base. And, what else? The proximity to New York City, I guess.
New York, D.C.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big cities right there.
Yeah, all pretty close. I've only seen a few interesting videos, and we're in this new realm of uncertainty when it comes to AI and it comes to computer-generated images and video. It's like I've seen so many. I've seen me. I've seen so much stuff that's not real. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's real anymore. It's like, especially when it comes to something that's kind of blurry. It's in the sky, and you got people on the ground. I've seen so many fake ones. There's just so many ones that people have generated. I'm friends with Jeremy Corbell, and Jeremy, I always send him what the fuck is this? I'll send some stuff to him. Is this bullshit? And, he's very good at we don't really know. I am very suspicious because of this. This is what we know. Let me send you some things that I know are not fake, but we still don't know what they are, and see the difference. And so we'll have these long conversations and text message or phone calls about stuff like that. But no one seems to be able. There's not one person you can go to. You have your people that are dismissing everything. They think it's just hobbyists and crazy people. But if they're not giving off signatures that are standard with these normal drones, like these heat signatures, and they're able to stay in the sky for hours and hours at a time, just that alone points to, at least if it's not our adversaries, if it's domestic, superior technology that we're not even aware of right now. How are they staying in the sky for 5 hours? What is if you got a top of the food chain drone, and who was it that was explaining to us the issue with why China has superior drone technology? It has something to do with the FAA. Was it Andreessen?
I don't remember.
Well, someone was explaining the reason why most of these high-end, it might have actually been a green room conversation.
Yeah. I still remember what you're talking about now.
Yeah. So that the FAA and the rules and regulations have sort of stifled the development and the improvement of these domestic drones.
Yeah.
And so most of the hobbyist drones are coming from China. And China, if you haven't seen, has fucking incredible displays of drones
Yeah,
where
those
they
multi.
they do like a dragon in the sky. It's amazing. And it is because of regulations. It's because of the FAA dragging their heels, being incompetent, or at least being overwhelmed, where this has not been able to progress domestically the way it's been able to do in China. And so that alone seems like a giant security threat. The fact that China has had just full integration with the government and been able to have this technological innovation that allows their drones to be like super powerful. Like what they're able to do with these displays in the sky, unbelievable. Like really wild stuff to see. That seems like many, many leaps above what we can do.
And the faux firework displays that these things put on are just one part of the puzzle, right? Because warfare is changing. It's changing drastically, and this is something I've tried to raise the alarm bells on before the Ukraine war, but we're seeing it now. Warfare is going to these highly mobile, non-traditional platforms where you can have a group of guys that are basically teenagers now going out and conducting operations with these small drones, and God forbid that an adversarial nation is now employing those technologies here in the United States. And if it was Russia, if it was China, and they were doing it directly, that'd be the equivalent of a declaration of war. I mean, they're essentially invading our land, right? Right. Is there, some avenue where they might be hiring criminal gangs in some way to do this in order to create a level of deniability for them? I don't know, but I'm certain that China and other nations are watching this unfold very carefully and detecting the gaps in our homeland defense systems. Right? I mean, this is a major issue. War is changing, and there are a lot of companies that, within the private sector, and of course within the normal defense contractor world, that is building capabilities to be able to detect and mitigate drones, whether it's kinetically or through electronic warfare. But we're not employing those. And oh, by the way, the electronic warfare measures that have been employed against the New Jersey drones have been ineffective.